This is Ocean Robbins, and in just a few minutes here, we're going to begin the Plant-Powered and Thriving Expert Series. In a few moments, I will be joined by my dad and colleague, best-selling author John Robbins, and by our special guest for this Power Hour, New York Times best-selling author, Dr. Susan Peirce Thompson, as we focus on making healthy eating into an irresistible habit. If you want to take advantage of the latest learnings of medical science, if you want to apply excellent nutrition in a way that helps you to thrive, if you want to love healthy food, then you are definitely in the right place. We're going to begin at the half of the hour, 8:30 Eastern Time, 5:30 Pacific Time. And there are thousands of people gathering from all over the world right now to join in this Power Hour as we together look at how we can apply healthy eating, how we can live the food revolution, how we can put it into action and take advantage of excellent nutrition in a way that helps us all to thrive. Kim Gerard said, "I am so excited, I can't wait. I personally feel like you are my family, the family I don't have to argue with over food." Well, Kim, thank you for sharing that. I think we are a family together. We are creating a family, a piece of beloved community, people who support each other in doing the right thing for our health, in standing for food, not just as a commodity, but also as a community. It's a web of relationships. And together we are creating that web of relationships right here and right now. So I hope you can feel wherever you are on this planet that you're part of something powerful and beautiful in this Power Hour. We heard from Beatrice Lynn, who said, "Great choice to present this tonight. People that prioritize practicing the Halloween celebration may want to stay home and watch it on their laptop or iPad or iPhone. The few interruptions they get will allow them to share a few minutes of this extremely valuable information with the visitors. And also, people may consider giving children in their community only healthy treats. Who needs more sugar?" Well, thank you so much, Beatrice, for bringing that to mind. And isn't it interesting how we so often celebrate holidays and birthdays with candy and sugar? But we are helping, I think, to create a new reward mechanism. And we're going to look at that tonight, how you can make healthy eating something that you love and that your brain says yes to, so you can celebrate healthy choices and good choices and holidays in good ways that serve your life. In just a moment here, I'm going to be joined by my dad and colleague, John Robbins, and by New York Times bestselling author Susan Peirce Thompson. We're going to look at how you can cultivate healthy habits that stick, how you can bring more joy to your healthy food life, and how you can put support networks and systems in place that help you sustain the choices and that help you to thrive. Here we go. Let's begin. Welcome to the first event in the Plant-Powered and Thriving Expert Series. This is Ocean Robbins, co-founder and CEO of the Food Revolution Network, and I am here right now with two very special people. Let me first introduce my dad and colleague, Food Revolution Network president and international best-selling author of over 30 years and 2 million copies, John Robbins.
Well, thank you, Ocean, and I'm feeling very grateful that we get to have this time with so many people all over the world. The last time I saw the numbers, we had over 25,000 people signed up for tonight with us. People who are joining us right now to leverage the power of excellent nutrition to support abundant health, vibrant, vital health. So if that sounds like something you want, then you are definitely in the right place. I think we're going to have a lot of fun tonight. And at the same time, I hope that our hour together deepens your faith in your ability to make wise food choices that will enable you to live the healthiest and most vital and most beautiful life that's possible for you. And that's not always easy. On Halloween Eve, we are reminded in the United States of the sugar fixation of our culture. It can be hard to make healthy choices and sustain them when we live in a society that has normalized eating so much sugar, eating food that's grown with pesticides and hormones and antibiotics, and food that's often laced with all kinds of unregulated chemicals. So it's very important that we help each other, that we stand with each other for food as a source of health and a source of vitality and a source of empowerment in our lives. You know, we all have a need to belong. We need a family, we need a tribe, we need a community, we need friends. And one of the ways often that we cement the bonds of our belonging, of our connection with each other, is through sharing meals. And that's one of the reasons that it can be so hard to eat healthfully when the members of our family or our friends or our coworkers are not doing so. And that's why it's so important to make new friends who support and affirm your healthy eating path. And that's why it's so powerful to be part of a community that's dedicated to healthy eating. So thank you all for being here and for joining in this conversation and in this food revolution.
Indeed. This Power Hour is the first in a series of 3 that we're holding. Our topic for this one is how to make healthy eating irresistible. In our second Power Hour on Thursday, we're going to be joined by Dr. Dean Ornish as we focus on how lifestyle medicine can transform your life. And in our third, we'll be joined by Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn, learning how you can prevent and reverse heart disease with food. And for this Power Hour, we are so happy to be joined by our dear friend and our treasured colleague, Dr. Susan Pierce Thompson. Susan is on the adjunct faculty at the University of Rochester with a PhD in brain and cognitive sciences. She's the New York Times bestselling author of Bright Line Eating and the founder of the Institute for Sustainable Weight Loss. Susan is founder of the Bright Line Eating boot camps that have helped more than 20,000 participants from 103 countries to sustainably release more than 300,000 pounds. She's also a dear friend of ours and of the Food Revolution. Her presentations in the Food Revolution summits that we host are always wildly popular. Susan, thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, hey, Ocean. Thanks for inviting me. And thank you, John. It's I have to say I'm pinching myself that I get to be in a lineup with Dr. Dean Ornish and Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn. That's an honor that is a little bit beyond my comprehension, to be honest. But I love this topic, and it's one I think about a lot. I was going to say constantly, but a lot. I really think about this topic of how do we create the habits that are going to sustain us in making, eating the way we want to eat so natural that it's, as you say, irresistible. And so I can't wait to talk about this, and I'm excited to be here with everyone.
Well, us too. And speaking to every one of our participants, we're thrilled to have you with us now as well. We can't see your faces, but we feel your hearts and your energy, and we're so glad you're here. It's exciting and it's powerful to join forces with others who are on a healthy eating path. And I want to give you a sense of how this event's going to flow. In this hour, we're going to look at the real reasons so many people are stuck in decidedly unhealthy eating habits. And we're going to look at why so many are overweight or obese. We'll discuss the science of habit formation and why it is that so many people crave foods that aren't in their best interests, and at how you can rewire your brain to love healthy choices. We're going to look at what are some of the top barriers that healthy eaters face and at how you can overcome them. And then we're going to respond to some comments and answer some of the live questions that are coming in during the event. We'll wrap up the main event after an hour at 9:30 Eastern Time, 6:30 Pacific Time. And then for everyone who stays on with us for a little bit after that, we'll tell you about our hugely popular course, Plant Powered and Thriving, that will be starting soon. And we're going to invite you to join in with some special bonuses and discounts that are only available tonight. If you decide to join, we'll guide you through practical step-by-step implementation of a healthy eating lifestyle. So if you want to invest in your health, then after this Power Hour completes, by all means, stay on so you can hear all about it. And if you're so eager that you can't wait, or if you're curious but know you're going to have to leave early, there is a button on the broadcast page that lets you learn more all about it.
And here's how you can ask your questions so we can respond to them and share your comments so that we can see. At the bottom of the broadcast page, you'll find a comments area. You can type in your questions or your comments or your reflections there. And you can also post any celebrations that you want. If there's anything you hear tonight that's particularly inspiring to you, or anything that you want to remember or highlight or make sure that others see or note, please go ahead and share that in the comments area as well so everyone else can see it. And for those of you who are participating tonight only through teleconference, please don't worry about not being able to see the video or the comments. You'll still be able to follow along with everything.
All right, so jumping right in here. The truth is that these days, most folks know that sugar and white flour and processed foods and fried foods and too much meat are bad for them. And most people know that eating more vegetables and more whole foods is good for them. And a lot of people are motivated. In fact, in a 2015 study, Nielsen found that 88% of Americans would be willing to pay more for food that was healthier for them. So I want to ask, why is it, with all that we know, and even when our lives are on the line, why is it so many people are not acting in their own best interests? Susan, you're a neuroscientist, and you know that the brain is a big factor here. What is your take on what it is that is blocking so many people from doing what they know they should be doing?
I think the two biggest drivers here, Ocean, are habit and addiction. And when I say habit, I mean a series of behaviors that are wired in relation to our environment. They're a series of cue response action patterns that we've done and done and done. So based on certain triggers in our environment that are so numerous that you couldn't even begin to list them all, but they have to do with things like visual cues, whether it's for, golden arches or a Starbucks logo, temporal cues, time of day, where every afternoon at 4:00, when you're walking out of your office hallway and there's the vending machine. They have to do with emotional cues. They have to do with sort of social cues, certain celebratory cues, or getting together with certain people in certain ways. There's all these things in our environment that we've habitually responded to in certain ways. Starting to eat healthy, if you're not sort of in that group already, requires one by one breaking this onslaught of cue response behavior patterns. So habit is the first one. And then the second one is addiction. When you are used to eating anything remotely resembling the standard American diet, your brain is really depending on that sugar, that flour, those sugar, flour, fat combinations for a little bit of a fix. And so when you put in the stress of modern day living, there's just almost no way to get to the end of a Friday afternoon after sitting in traffic and dealing with everything you've been dealing with without saying, let's order pizza tonight. It's really, really hard actually to swim upstream against all of that and implement a healthy eating lifestyle.
Susan, I really appreciate what you're saying about the difficulties living in this society to create a healthy eating lifestyle, and our habits and our addictions certainly keep us stuck. When I think of your work, I think of the absolutely staggering amount of weight that people who have been overweight, who have been obese in many cases, have lost and kept off as they followed your program. And with that weight loss, I think of all the cases of diabetes that have been averted, the cancers that won't happen, the heart attacks that won't take place. And I think of the people who are now more present in their lives because they feel more confident in their bodies. And as a result, they can show up more fully for the people they love. Mm-hmm. And the question that I want to ask you now is, what is it that you love most about the work that you do?
I feel like a servant of this work, to be honest. For me, I struggled with my food and my weight for so much of my life. I was overweight as a kid. I was more overweight as a teenager. I was obese in my 20s. I went through food addiction drug addiction as a teenager. It's serious drug addiction in part, I can't say it was all about that, but in part to manage my weight and my eating, crystal meth addiction, crack cocaine addiction. And then when I got clean, food addiction slammed me hard, binging, purging, over exercising, what I've eaten or not eaten, whether I'm on my plan or off my plan, the calories, the miles, the pounds, and trying, everything, Fit for Life, Body for Life, vegan, whole food, plant-based, Atkins, Pritikin, And so for me, what I love most about what I do is just setting people free from that. I've been free for that. I can't claim complete freedom, but I'll say 98% free from that. I've been in a right-sized body and, most of the time living my life without being a slave to food for 14 years. And I certainly know how to get back on track if I do start to, get back in the rigmarole with food again. And teaching people the skill set of how to really and truly get free is, for the tagline of Bright Line Eating is happy, thin, and free. And, I'm sure people come for the thin. I'm really about the free. And, some people are like, what does the free mean? And I'm like, free from food obsession. If you don't know, God bless you. You don't need Bright Line Eating. But for people who know, they're spending too much of their time thinking about, trying to get their food managed. And yeah, so just setting people free from that and seeing it work for them, because it's a very comprehensive system. It takes a lot of dedication, but boy, it works, and for the people it's for, it's not for everybody, but for the people it's for, it's a total game changer. So I just like watching it, it's just such a privilege to watch it happen for people.
Yeah. We have had the privilege of sharing your work with, hundreds of thousands of our members over the last few years. And I tell you, everywhere I go, I see people coming to me, telling me story after story, saying, I discovered Susan's work through you and I've lost 50 pounds, I've lost 100 pounds. And they're telling me that in many cases, the weight loss is not even the biggest thing for them. It is the feeling that they get to be the authors of their choices again, instead of being at the mercy of addictive patterns that are completely ruining their lives in many cases. And so I thank you so much for the key that you're giving so many people to release themselves from a jail cell of sorts, to step into that kind of freedom. There are also practical challenges people face, even apart from the addiction dynamics. There are practical issues that come up. And we recently asked our members what their biggest barriers were to healthy eating. And we heard that some of the top ones people faced were time, money, and nutritional confusion, as well as habits and social pressures. And I think let's jump in now to the number one challenge that so many people face on the healthy eating path, which is time. So many of our fast foods and convenience foods are actually junk foods. It can take time to prepare real food. It takes time to plan ahead. It takes time to cultivate new habits. And quite frankly, anytime that you want to step outside the norm of mass-produced industrial food, it's going to take some time to do so. And yet a lot of us are busy, often to the point of overwhelm. I mean, we may be juggling work, family, sleep, not to mention self-care. And then you add in emails and social media. And it's normal, I think, for most of us to feel stressed and overwhelmed throughout a lot of our lives. So I actually want to ask my dad if he could answer this one for us, getting practical for a moment. If someone is super busy and they want to eat healthfully, what can they do? How can they create efficiencies and healthy habits that set them up for success? And can you share a few of your favorite time-saving tips?
Well, thank you, Ocean. I'd love to. Time stress disturbs all of us. If you're living in modern society, time stress. And a lot of us are experiencing a tremendous amount of it. There just aren't enough hours in the day. And I want to put in a good word here for planning ahead, because when you do it right, planning ahead can save a lot of time, and it can also save money. Now, what do I mean by planning ahead? Well, it can mean a lot of different things. It can mean buying your staple foods in bulk, in large quantities, so you don't have to shop as often. It's amazing how much time you save by shopping less frequently. Of course, you want your produce to be fresh, but refrigeration is a wonderful thing. And every trip to the store that you don't make can save you an hour or more in time that you don't have. You don't have to spend driving and parking and waiting in line to check out. Planning ahead can also mean preparing food in quantity, in large amounts, maybe on the weekend. So then you have ready to heat meals that are healthful and that are delicious and that are ready to go in your fridge or your freezer when you need them. Planning ahead can also mean dedicating some time each week, maybe on the weekend, to making a menu or a meal plan and a shopping list that goes along with it for the coming week.
In our family, we keep a running shopping list that's posted on our fridge. And then whenever we're running low on some of our basic staples, or whenever we plan to make something that requires a specific ingredient that we don't already have, then we just add those things onto the list.
That's a great idea, Ocean. And here's another one. In our kitchen, we save a lot of time by preparing food in quantity. I mentioned that a moment ago. It's really a key part of our time saving strategies. And I'm sure you all know that cleanup is a very time consuming part of home food preparation. But when you make a soup or a casserole, it actually doesn't add much to the cleanup time if you make a larger quantity. And the bonus is that then you have leftovers that will keep you and your loved ones eating deliciously and healthfully in the coming days. And I want to say a word on behalf of leftovers. Leftovers have gotten a bad rap. Many of us have come to think of them as unwanted or excessive or second rate in some way. But making healthy and delicious food in quantity and storing it properly in the fridge or in the freezer can actually be a way of paying it forward. It's a gift to your future self, something a bit like putting money in a savings account. When you prepare abundant, healthy food and save it for a time when you'll need it, you're not being slovenly. You're actually expressing thoughtfulness and foresight.
Well, can you share your thoughts on a related topic here, which is freezing?
Sure. That's an important topic, actually. There's a tremendous amount of waste in the food industry. Half of the produce grown in the United States and a smaller but still enormous share of the produce grown worldwide never reaches human mouths. Much of it rots in the fields, or it's hauled off to landfills because it's got cosmetic problems or there are supply chain issues. When farmers are able to freeze their harvest immediately, right when it's nutritionally at its highest place of ripeness, they prevent a lot of this waste. And the food savings are often passed on to the consumer. And that's why so many frozen fruits and vegetables are actually priced competitively with, if not more economically than, their fresh counterparts. Now, to be clear, freezing food does change the texture, and this might not matter for foods that you plan to cook. But there aren't a lot of frozen fruits or vegetables that you would want to eat raw.
Some people fear that nutrients are lost or even destroyed by freezing. What's your take on that?
Well, that's an excellent question. It's really an important issue and has been studied very carefully. For example, there was a recent study, researchers at Australia's University of New South Wales measured the antioxidant content of blueberries when they were fresh, when they were dried, and when they'd been frozen for 3 months. And here's what they found. They found that the dried blueberries lost about 40% of their antioxidant potency, but the frozen ones did not. Their antioxidant strength, even after 3 months of being frozen, remained virtually the same as it was when it was fresh. So freezing can, in fact, be a very good way to preserve the nutritional value and the flavor of foods. In fact, in some cases, fruits that are picked at the peak of ripeness and then frozen immediately after harvest can be fresher and tastier and more nutritious than those same fruits would be if they had been picked green, traveled thousands of miles, and then sat on a shelf for a couple of weeks. What's most important is that the initial quality of the food be good, and then that the length of time between harvesting or preparation and freezing be as short as possible.
We only have an hour together tonight, and we have a lot we want to cover. In our Plant Powered and Thriving course, which we'll tell you about if you can stay on after we complete here, we get to walk you through all this in a much more thorough way. So if time is a concern for you, then I want to encourage you to not try to reinvent the wheel. Whether it's Plant Powered and Thriving or another resource, I hope you'll consider taking advantage of a healthy eating program that helps you to implement practices that save you time and even money in the context of a busy life. I know a lot of people who participate in a Food Revolution Summit, or they read a great book, or they watched a great film about food, and then they get very excited. They're filled with hope, and there's a part of them saying, wow, I can do this. I can change my diet, and I can change my life. But then over time, all too often, old habits are setting in, and people wind up right back where they were, or worse, because now they've lost some of their self-respect. So Susan, let me ask you, do you ever see people slipping backwards? And if any of our participants have ever slipped on a goal or are afraid of slipping now, do you have any words of encouragement or advice that might help them succeed or get back on track?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, everybody slips. I mean, you slip, John slips, right? I mean, everybody has a moment where they're not
Sure.
eating ideally, as they would like to eat. And, for people who have more addictable brains, which is me, but not you two, for this kind of stuff, then the slips can look bad, right? They can get pretty ugly. And so in bright line eating and in the work that I've shared with you both, we talk a lot about simply resuming. And we actually have a cute way, someone in our tribe created this, a way of spelling resume with a Z, REZOOM, like resume, like just to capture the speed of it, do it fast, and I think that's the first component of resuming effectively is to do it fast, get on with it. And I think a diet mentality is I'll start again on Monday, I'll start again on the first of the year, I'll start again on the first of the month, or well, I've blown it now, so I might as well. It's called the what the hell effect in psychology. There's a technical term for it, and it's called the what the hell effect. There's papers published on the what the
Very,
hell
very, very academic sounding.
Totally. Isn't that great? Psychologists are funny that way sometimes. So the what the hell effect is, I had a piece of pizza, what the hell? I'll eat the whole thing and I'll start again on Monday. And it's part and parcel of a diet mentality. So, one of the things that I really recommend is, again, this lifestyle approach that you so embody and like to talk about, especially with your Plant Powered and Thriving course. It's, it's a lifestyle that we're aiming for. And what's great about that is that with any lifestyle, you watch yourself sort of ebb and flow with it, like getting enough sleep, right? We don't all get 8 hours of sleep every night. I mean, name someone that dies having gotten 8 hours of sleep every night. But, we don't get 5 hours of sleep and then say, well, I've blown it now, better get 4 hours of sleep tonight and 3 hours of sleep tomorrow, and I'll start again with good sleep on Monday, right? So, resuming is a matter of speed. It's a matter of self-compassion. It's a matter of seeking the lesson, because for some of us, we can look and say, well, why did my food go off the rails this week? Okay, I didn't plan and prepare. I didn't, I was traveling and I didn't think ahead, and get to take an Uber to a Whole Foods to get some stuff, So we can think speed, self-compassion, seeking the lesson, and then social support, getting back with the tribe that you talked about earlier, not doing it alone. And those are the elements, we call them the 4 S's, the elements of successful resuming. And I think self-compassion is the key. It really is important to remember that we're part of the human race. Nobody's doing this perfectly, not even close, and there's a lot of constraints that weigh on us as we're navigating our food environment. So just being really gentle with ourselves.
I love that. We're all discovering in this moment in real time how we can live in a better way. The examples of food madness are all around us, and they're killing us, and they're making a third of our kids expected to get diabetes in their lifetime, and 70% of our population overweight or obese, and so many people feeling miserable and suffering. And we can do better. And we're discovering how to do better. We know the science, we know the data. And I think what we're learning and what we're getting to pioneer right now is how we put that into action in a way that really works for our lives. And I think that's some of the most important discoveries of our times. I think the steps we take individually, we don't just take for ourselves, we also take for our family and for our communities. Because as we step into more radiant health, we're a living example, and we show people what's possible. And we also can pass on our discoveries, as you've done. I mean, look at what you went through, being in the level of misery that you were in, and the addictive place that you were in your 20s, and then coming out of that to become a teacher for so many. So I know for everyone watching us right now, just want to say you too are you're part of the leading edge of discovering what's possible for you, for your body, for your health, and also on behalf of all the people that you love. Now, one of the challenges that we hear people face over and over again with healthy eating is finances. We talked about time. Number 2 actually is money. And the truth is, as we all know, organically grown food can cost a lot more than conventionally grown food. And Susan, let me ask you, what do you say to folks who think that healthy eating is just too expensive?
I was about to say something really rude, which as I try not to laugh in their face just because like it's so expensive to be overweight. Like it's so expensive to be overweight. I would say it again, it's so expensive to be overweight. Like there's these studies that show that, you know, an obese woman in America is going to spend an extra $8,000 a year in hard costs on being obese. $8,000 a year. Like break that down. That's a big grocery budget, you know?
I can buy a lot of broccoli.
You can buy a lot of broccoli for $8,000 a year. When people start bright line eating, their grocery budgets reduce by 30%, and their restaurant budget, you know, reduces by 80% to 100%. Some people just stop eating out for a little while. So, I mean, they save a lot of money every month doing bright line eating. And, you know, I think that, so then on the other side, that was very cavalier of me to say that because I grew up really, really poor. Like I remember my mom putting the Slender bill in her wallet every day. That was the budget for the day. And that's all the money we had. So, you know, here's the thing. It's not really the case that healthy food is expensive and crappy food is cheap. It's like some foods are expensive. Yeah. If you want to eat organic raspberries every day, that's an expensive diet. Bananas, not so bad, right? So, you know, if you're going to eat healthfully, you need to eat vegetables, you need to eat fruit, you need to eat grains, you need to eat sources of protein. And, you know, you can pick, you know, really expensively in those categories, you know, wild caught sockeye salmon for your protein, or you can have beans for your protein and cook them in bulk. And we're talking like really inexpensive. And if you don't have time, open a can of beans, still really inexpensive. So, you know, beans, rice, bananas, cabbage. I mean, those are some of the least expensive foods in the supermarket, incredibly healthy. And, you know, dump a bunch of vinegar on some cabbage and it's actually really delicious. So, you know, basically I see people saving a ton of money when they get healthier. I can't even say how expensive I think it is to live a lifestyle, sort of enmeshed with unhealthy food, because the medical expenses of that and the cost, frankly, of chasing down a food craving, like this food as entertainment thing. You know, how much money are people spending at Applebee's? You know, that's every bit of that money is wasted. Like your body needs none of that. And, you know, any food that you're running out to buy on some kind of craving, or any drive-through that you're pulling through, like your body needs none of that, zero. So every bit of that money is wasted, every bit of it. People save so much money when they start eating truly healthfully, because it's expensive to put unhealthy food in your body. I mean, it's just a very expensive pathway.
It's true. I mean, you know, disease treatment in the United States absorbs 19% of our gross domestic product. You know, more than the military budget, more than, you know, interest on the national debt, more than all kinds of major expenses that we see. And, you know, most of that could be prevented with improved diet and lifestyle. You know, so it is quite a thing to consider, the real cost of being sick, the real cost of not being at your best, the real cost of not having the energy to make it through the day, not to mention the cost of something like cancer or heart disease, or the loss of a loved one earlier than it needed to be. You know, and even without factoring in the long-term costs, there's so much that we can do to make healthy eating affordable day to day. I wonder if my dad, if you could share a little more with us on that.
Well, yes, you know, and as Susan was talking, I was thinking about how expensive it is to have a case of cancer or have a heart attack. There's a saying that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. I think it's worth a lot more than that. When we live a lifestyle and eat a food path, take a food path that is conducive to our highest well-being and our most highest optimal health, we save money in all kinds of ways. We're not buying food as entertainment. We're buying food as fuel for our souls and our lives and what we care about. And yeah, it may seem expensive to not be buying the processed Fritos, chips, and junk that our ridiculous, perverse incentives have made so inexpensive at time of purchase, but they are so costly down the line. You know, and there's a lot we can do. The average American household wastes more than $2,000 a year with food that's literally thrown in the garbage.
That's right. And there was a recent report which found that 40% of the food that is produced in the United States is thrown away. I mean, this is bad for our environment, and it's of course bad for our finances too. And You know, in a world where there are hundreds of millions of people going hungry, I just think it's so sad. And most of the food that we're wasting, by the way, is not Hostess Twinkies or Doritos, which are packed with preservatives. Most of what we're wasting is fruits and vegetables and other fresh and perishable foods. So let me ask my dad here this next question. How can our participants take action if they really want to stop food waste?
Well, first of all, thank you for wanting to stop food waste. It wastes money and it wastes wonderful resources. And one of the most powerful things that you can do actually is to know how to make great recipes that are really healthy and really delicious. Because really, a lot of food waste happens when people don't like the food that they have. So then they wind up eating processed and packaged foods or eating out because you just frankly aren't all that excited about whatever you have in the pot or in the fridge. So getting great recipes and learning how to make them and planning ahead so that you have the ingredients on hand that you need throughout the week can really make a huge difference.
When you're not wasting food, then you buy more whole foods that you prepare. And when you buy less processed and packaged foods, when you put all this together, you can actually find yourself starting to save a lot of money.
You can. You know, one of my favorite snacks is very inexpensive and it's very easy and quick to make. And it is homemade, air-popped, organic popcorn. And I know that popcorn has gotten an unhealthy reputation, and deservedly so when you think about the large amounts of fat and sugar and certainly salt that are often added to commercial popcorn. In a movie theater, that's always the case. But homemade, air-popped, organic popcorn is inexpensive. It's a whole grain product that's low in calories, and it's a fabulous source of fiber. In fact, the American Cancer Society recognizes the benefits of the particular kinds of fiber that are found in popcorn in helping to prevent many types of cancer. And popcorn is also a great source of protein and vitamins B1 and B2 and iron. You can spray your popcorn with olive oil or another oil that you like in the amount that suits you. And you can sprinkle it with salt and herbs and spices or maybe nutritional yeast. And if you don't want to use any oil, you can use soy sauce as your salt source, and then the spices and perhaps the yeast or the herbs will have something to stick to.
Thanks for that. And there are a lot of other nutrient-packed foods, including beans, buckwheat, rice, oats, cabbage, carrots, onions, button mushrooms, and even nuts and seeds that can be remarkably affordable. And they can be delicious when you know how to prepare them. Now, I see that a lot of participants have joined us as we've been going, and so they might have missed the announcement that a little later in this Power Hour, we're going to open up the floor to share and respond to some of the questions that are coming in from participants. And if you haven't already, you can post some of the questions that you would most like to see us address in the comments area at the bottom of our broadcast page. And if you see a comment that someone else has submitted that you want to see answered, you can like it. And that will make it more likely we can address it during our question and answer period. And right now, I want to move on to another challenge that many people face as they undertake or deepen a healthy eating path. And that is a sense of isolation. And I want to ask Susan, what do you think is the role of mentors and allies on a healthy eating path? Do you think that having a tribe is important? And if so, can you tell us why?
Oh, I think it's essential. And, you know, I deal with people who are higher on the food addiction spectrum, you know, like just a little bit more craving in the mix, a little bit more, one bite leads to another bite kind of thing. And, there's a good saying, which is food addiction is a disease of isolation. And I really think it is. I think all of those patterns have to do with isolation. And, in Brightline Eating, we go to great lengths to create an enormously supportive community. We don't just have Facebook groups for our program, but we hire previously successful boot campers to full-time to be in there. And then we pre-seed the group with 15 previously successful boot campers for fun and for free who are just in there to love up people and answer their questions. And then we invite people to get buddies, to text their food every day and commit their food to, and to form mastermind groups, which are groups of 4 people that go through life together, talking on the phone for an hour and a half once a week. And I think it takes layers of support. It takes, Ocean, you're one of my closest running mates on this path. You know what I mean? Like, we get together regularly on Zoom calls. We live a continent apart, on the other side of the United States from each other, but we support each other. And you've been one of my biggest advocates in saying, Susan, you need to travel with more support around your food,
Yeah.
And so it's just, you can't, I think the biggest reasons are twofold. One is that society right now is not set up to support us in healthy eating. It's just not. And there's no sense in throwing a pity party about that and waiting for it to fix itself, because we're going to be dead by then. So, with your work, maybe not. Maybe the revolution will happen faster. But, we want to be healthy today, not 10 years from now. So that means we have to create a sub-environment around ourselves where healthy eating is normalized and supported and celebrated. And, here's just a little example. People who do bright line eating, let's say they start off at 250 pounds, and like a woman's 5'5". When she gets to 180 pounds, she's still got 50 pounds to lose. She's going to have people saying, don't lose any more weight. You're getting too skinny. Like, these are people who never commented while she was getting obese, never said anything. But now that she's lost, whatever, I don't remember the math of what I just said, but now she's lost 70, 80, 90 pounds or whatever. She's got 50 to go. She's going to start getting pressure from people to stop losing weight, right? She needs to have a tribe of people around her who know what it actually is like to get all the way healthy, all the way into a right-sized body, and can support her and say, yeah, don't listen to those people. We're with you. We know that the journey is long and you're on the right path. You don't look too skinny. You're fine.
Yeah.
So you need people whose brains are right, whose eyes are right. And then the other reason is that when our eating gets off, the tendency to isolation produces more unhealthy eating. Like, it's just, you procrastinate, you hide, you eat, you procrastinate, you hide, you eat. And, it takes human connection to get out of that death spiral. So, yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that I love in our Plant Powered and Thriving courses is how the participants are coming together. And it's amazing how sometimes a simple thing can be so life-changing, like sharing a recipe that you love and then having 10 people like it and comment on it and talk about it. And suddenly what could have felt isolating becomes a source of connection. Eating differently than the norm becomes a bonding point between people who are making that choice. We create a network right then and there of allies and peers. And I think that is actually a game changer for so many people. And I love how you're doing that in your work, and that we get to do that in our work, because I think that relationships are one of the most important forms of currency in the world today, maybe even in some ways more important than money. And when we can build relationships that affirm who we are and that deepen who we are, that is an incredible source of strength and support through happy times and through tough times. Susan, I know you've seen a lot of people transform their health and their lives as you've supported them in stepping forward on a healthier eating path. And there must be some stories of things you've experienced that have especially touched or inspired you. Would you be willing to share one of them with us?
Yeah, sure. I think the most touching one just happened, Ocean. It just happened. It was in Oslo, Norway. And my book, Bright Line Eating, had just been published in Norwegian. And one of the people in the Bright Line Eating tribe formed her own little publishing company, a person of one, so she could buy the rights to the book in Norwegian and translate it and publish it. And she did it in record time. So it was the first translation to come out, was her translation in Norwegian. So David and I flew to Oslo to support her for the book launch party. And turns out there's a ton of people in Norway doing Bright Line Eating. And one of them came from the north of Norway. And this woman came down for the party and the book launch and the signing and stuff. So it was after the talk, and I'm signing books. And their English is impeccable. Theirs better than ours. It's crazy. So she's sitting down, and in flawless English, this woman says, she's like third in line out of 100 people. So we've got this long line of people waiting. And she's not in a right-sized body. She's still got a little bit of weight on her, but she says, she says, this is the first thing she comments on. She says, I'm not in a right-sized body, but I've already lost about 75 pounds. And she says, and I just want to tell you how grateful I am for you. She said, I'm a mother of several little children, which already my heart went out, because I, of course, have 3 little children. And she said, my weight had gotten so high and my health had gotten so bad that my doctor was just telling me every visit, he was telling me the numbers and, you're going to die. You're going to have a heart attack. You've got diabetes. You've got heart disease. She had a long list of ailments. And she said, Susan, I was trying everything to lose my weight and get healthy, everything. And nothing would work. Nothing would stick. I was always back unhealthy, fatter than ever, fatter than ever. And she said, a little while ago, the penny dropped and I realized deeply, diets don't work. And all this effort I'm putting into this is wasted. It's just wasted. And she said, I stopped. She said, I stopped trying. And she said, I took all that effort that I was spending and I used it to prepare my kids that I was going to die soon. And I used it to explain to them that mommy wasn't going to be around for very long, but that Aunt Sally loved them and that daddy loved them. And that's where I put my effort, was explaining to my kids that I was going to die pretty soon. And she said, luckily I didn't do that for very long, because just a few days later, some email landed in my inbox. It might've been from you, John and Ocean, talking about bright line eating. And she said something in the gruesomeness of my experience and my story convinced her to try one more time. And she said, I've shed all this weight. My blood work is impeccable. I'm the picture of health. And, I got a little ways to go before I'm at goal weight, but I don't even care. Like, I'm healthy now. And I finally know, that healthy eating is possible for me. And I'm not trying to tell my kids anymore that I'm about to die. Like, I'm going to be here for a long, long time. And I'm crying. I got mascara down my face and, oh my gosh. So yeah, that was the one that hit me strongest most recently, was that one.
Wow, I can see why. Yeah, it's real lives are on the line here. It's not just words. It's real lives. Sometimes we have a moment when our mortality is that visceral. Sometimes we are digging our own graves with our knives and forks over the course of years and even decades. But at some point, we always face the reality that there is a finality to life, and the fact is that the choices we make day in and day out shape our destiny. And how beautiful that you were able to touch this woman's life in such a profound way, and her kids' lives, I might add. And that we all get to be a part of this real food revolution. And now I want to ask my dad the same question. Over the years, you've been advocating for healthier eating, inspiring millions of people. What has moved you? What's heartened you to carry on?
Well, first of all, thank you, Susan, for sharing that story. It's very moving. And so many people may not be literally facing death the way this person you were talking about was, and preparing her children for her death. So sad. And that she's gotten this new lease on life, a new opportunity, a new challenge, new opportunities. And it'll come with challenges, but that she's there for it. It's just such grace. And thank you, Susan, for playing that role in her life. And thank you, Ocean, too, for the roles you're playing in so many people's lives now. And I've had the privilege of doing this work for many decades. It's now been more than 30 years since I wrote Diet for a New America, my first book, which really wasn't a diet book, but that's the name that the publisher gave the book. And during this time, I've had the privilege of receiving so many letters and then emails from people telling me of the stunning health improvements that they've experienced. I've actually received more than 100,000 letters from people with these kinds of stories. And it's such a privilege to hear this. And it's always deeply humbling. And it's always moving for me to hear these stories. People tell of losing weight that they've been trying to shed for years. They tell of having better sleep and being able to sleep through the night now when they hadn't been able to do that for a long time. They talk of having more energy than they've had in a long time, of enhanced mental clarity, of being able to remember things that they couldn't before, being lucid and clear in their work lives, and their relationships are improving because they feel more emotionally solid and more balanced. They talk of skin conditions that are clearing up and of feeling more attractive. They talk of inflammatory conditions like arthritis and asthma that have improved. They tell of healing, finally, in some cases, from autoimmune diseases that had plagued them for a long, long time. And when I hear these things, I always think how wonderful, how really wonderful. And then I think, how can we make this more available and more doable, more practically doable for more and more people?
Yes, me too. And that's ultimately why we're here right now. Speaking for myself, I feel so honored that I get to join forces with both of these amazing people and with you, everybody who's participating right now, because, so much is at stake. For all of us, our health, sometimes even our lives are on the line. And sometimes when the stakes get high enough or the opportunity gets clear enough, people become eager to make a change. Every time I hear another story of transformation, I'm filled with gratitude because I know it didn't have to go this way. Inside of every story of healing and of transformation, there's a human being who discovered another possibility and who took it. They came to a crossroads and they made a choice. There's a saying that sometimes pain pushes and sometimes vision pulls. Sometimes we're forced to change by suffering, whether it's a diagnosis or a pain or a fear. And sometimes we're called forth to change by vision, by dreams and longings for what could be for our lives. So whatever pain you're feeling right now in your life, I want to hold that with compassion. And whatever longings and dreams are alive for you right now, I want to honor them and I want to support them. And in that spirit, I'd like to turn now our attention to some of the wonderful questions and comments that have been coming in throughout our time together so far. So I'm going to share a few of these and each of us can answer some of them. We'll start off with a question we had from Kim Ann. I'll ask my dad if he could answer this one. Do you have a recommendation for a popcorn brand, or how do you pop popcorn?
I don't have a recommendation for a brand. I don't know that I've bought it in a package, though I'm sure it comes in packages, and I'm sure there are companies and brands that provide it. But I get it in bulk from the local natural food store. It's cheaper that way, I think. And it stores really well. And I always get organic. And with any corn product, it's really important to get organic because otherwise it's likely to be GMO. And you don't need pesticides and herbicides in your food. And it's inexpensive. So even if the organic varieties are a little bit more, it's still pretty inexpensive. And I always air pop it. I don't ever add oil, fry it in a frying pan with oil or something like that. There are air popping popcorn makers. You can get them online. They're very inexpensive. And I've used mine for so long and I haven't replaced it. I guess it doesn't wear out. When it does, I'll find out what they cost nowadays. But they're very simple things. Air popping and organic are the key things to remember.
Next question is for Susan from Juana Duarte, who said, taking weight off is one thing. I feel like most diets work, but when you stop doing it, then the weight comes back on. Even if you maintain some of the habits, the weight comes back quickly and it's frustrating. So I'm looking for information to keep it off. It's always a constant thing and we need to be thinking about and working on. How can you advise?
Yeah, well, it's the thing. I mean, so research shows that every commercial program, diet out there, even things like going whole food plant-based or, everything, it's been compared to paleo, Atkins, all of it. They all show the same trajectory. When someone tries it, they take off on average 5% of their body weight, which for most people is 10 or 15 pounds. And that weight loss period lasts for about the first 3-4 months. And then by 6 months, they're plateaued. From 6 to 12 months, they're gaining weight back. A year or two out, they've gained back all their weight. And that's the consistent pattern across any sort of attempt at losing weight. And I think that a lot of the reason for this is that programs really focus on what to eat and not to eat, and maybe on how to exercise and, how to do that as well. And they don't focus on how to fundamentally change the habits and systems that underlie your eating to take the load off of willpower. So they imagine that you're going to implement successfully over the long term. And a lot of motivation initially will get you implementing successfully for those first few weeks or months. But unfortunately, that's not enough to get you all the way long term. So what I like to talk about is, I use the analogy of brushing teeth a lot. Brushing teeth is a habit that most of us these days in the modern world have ingrained so deeply that we brush our teeth whether we're tired, whether we're traveling, whether we've been out late at a party. It doesn't matter. We brush our teeth. And we do it twice a day, every day. Now, that's only 95% of the population. So if you're feeling guilty right now, I apologize if you're one of the people that doesn't brush their teeth twice a day, every day, no matter what. But for most people, at least they have a sense of what that kind of automaticity feels like. And so what I advocate, and there's parts of the brain that are involved here. Choices are in the prefrontal cortex, automaticity is in the basal ganglia. It's a totally different part of the brain. And to move a set of behaviors into the basal ganglia takes time, on average 66 days for one behavior, but the range is anywhere between 18 days and 254 days. So it takes time to get something automated and to have it feel automatic. But so what I want you to think about, Ocean, what was her name again? Do you have it?
That one was from Juana Duarte.
Juana Duarte. So Juana, yeah. What I want you to think about is what's automatizable. I want you to think about your eating in those terms from that lens, because I'll tell you what, if your dentist told you to start brushing and flossing 6 times a day, and like never miss, you'd probably say, the odds of that are pretty slim, doc. Like I don't know how I'm gonna brush and floss 6 times a day. So I propose 3 meals a day, because breakfast, lunch, and dinner can be automated based on time of day cues and certain social cues. 6 times a day is really hard to get right. It's hard to plan, pack, prepare 6 meals a day. 3 meals a day is doable. Breakfast gets wired into your morning routine. I recommend sort of a really basic food plan where you're going to eat, like think oatmeal, blueberries, and nuts, right? Just every morning, your bowl comes out, you make something very basic like that. Lunch, you pack it with you, you eat your lunch, and then dinner gets wired into your evening routine. So you need to be thinking about automaticity. If you want more support, if you've really been on this rigmarole for a long time, then you're probably one of my people, and you might want to consider the Bright Line Eating Bootcamp. If you're, someone that weight isn't, like an albatross around your neck and you haven't been struggling forever, then I recommend the Plant Powered and Thriving course, and just get some support for some, healthy eating, long-term lifestyle changes. But yeah, think about automaticity. It's got to be automatic to make it work.
Yes. We had a quick question for you, Susan, from Kim Conray, who said, what type of vinegar do you put on cabbage?
Well, I'm a fan of white balsamic vinegar. I like it a lot. But a good white vinegar is good on cabbage too. I mean, you kind of can't go wrong with vinegar. I like vinegar. I'm a big fan. I can't think of a kind of vinegar that I don't like, but if you're going to force me to make a choice, Colavita white balsamic vinegar is my favorite vinegar.
Okay, great. Wonderful. We had Jean Fontaine who asked, how can we do both BLE Bootcamp and Plant Powered Training course? And let me say that actually in about 5 minutes, we'll be wrapping up the question and answers. And we invite you to encourage you to stay on with us to hear about the Plant Powered and Thriving class that we're about to start, and the discount opportunities and the special bonuses that are only available when you sign up tonight. And then there are boot camps happening frequently. So actually, if you join us, we'll keep you posted on that. Susan, is there a quick link people can go to if they're like, yes, I really want to join the boot camp for Bright Line Eating, or they can just go to foodfreedomqueens.com, right? Yeah.
Or just brightlineeating.com. Yeah.
Brightlineeating.com. Yeah, you can learn more about that.
There's a link for the boot camp right there. You can just click right there and get.
Great. We heard from Vivian Durham, who asked, are there sources for healthy recipes you would recommend? I find recipes and they have some questionable ingredients, and then I don't make them. A source would be helpful. Well, Vivian, there are many different wonderful recipes in the world right now. We've compiled our favorites that have 3 main traits in common. They are efficient in terms of time, they're affordable, and they're delicious. And add to that, they are whole foods, plant-based, and incredibly nourishing. And that's what we provide in the Plant Powered and Thriving course. So every week of the course, you get another 10 outstanding recipes. And we've just seen incredible responses to these ones. So they're just fabulous and wonderful. And when you sign up, you'll get all that, of course. And then beyond that, I mean, you can go on Amazon and you can look for recipes that are out there and look for, whole foods, plant-based recipes, and then see what the customer reviews are and learn quite a lot. The world of healthy eating is incredible. But if you want to have a curated collection of some of the best recipes on the planet, then that's a great reason to join Plant Powered and Thriving, because that's one of the things that we're very proud of in that program. We heard from, I'll ask my dad about this one. I realize it's an in-depth topic and we actually go into it in Plant Powered and Thriving a lot, but it's about lectins. Jean Reagan said, could you please give more info on lectins? And obviously we could go in great depth there, but is there a summary you could provide for people who are hearing some of the confusing different messages out there on this topic?
Yes, I'll try to be concise. It is a big topic. And I'll try to just give a summary here because of our time concerns. Lectins are substances that are found primarily in nightshade foods and in legumes. They're also in other foods. And there's concern about some kinds of lectins, not all of them, that they are anti-nutrients, that they lower the nutritional value of the foods in which they appear and in the meals in which they occur. That can happen, but it actually doesn't very often. And the concern is, in many cases, exaggerated, and in some cases, actually wrong. And the reason that it's not so much of a concern as people who are concerned about it think it is because cooking destroys the lectins. And if you're worried about legumes and beans, if you pressure cook them, even Stephen Gundry, who's the foremost spokesman in the country today against lectins, warning people, wrote a book called The Plant Paradox, warning people against legumes, warning people against beans. But even he acknowledges that if you pressure cook your beans, it completely eliminates the problem. There are no lectins left in the beans once they've been pressure cooked. And by the way, all the canned beans for sale in the United States anyway, and probably most of the world, by definition, have been pressure cooked. That's the law. They have to be. So really, it's not much of a concern. Also, if you soak your beans, soak your legumes, lentils too, before cooking them, that also reduces the lectin levels dramatically. So cooking the nightshade vegetables like tomatoes and the others also helps tremendously. Some people are very concerned and they don't eat raw tomatoes as a result of this. And you can experiment with your own body. You know, each of us is unique. Your body is special and it's particular and it's specific to you and to your stage of life and to this moment in time. And you can experiment. And if you want to try not eating raw vegetables or not eating raw tomatoes in particular and seeing how that goes for you, and if it gives you benefits, then terrific. And if it doesn't, then you've learned that, you can go on. But in general, the issue, and again, this is a summary, I'm trying to be concise here, lectins are not nearly as the concern that some people think they are. And in particularly with legumes and beans and lentils, if you cook them, if you soak them beforehand, if you pressure cook them, you have eliminated the problem completely.
Yes, thanks so much for that. And again, we go into that in a lot more depth in the Plant Powered and Thriving course, along with pretty much all of the major nutritional questions of our times that we're receiving time and time again. There are a lot of myths that we want to bust through. There are a lot of people who are wanting the solid data and what the science really says about this. And I'm so excited that we get to include all of that in the course. You know, we've had a lot of great questions coming in, and I'm sorry, we're not going to have time to get to more of them right now, but our team will follow up with you, and we're going to be answering more during the Power Hour we have with Dr. Ornish on Thursday and more during the one with Dr. Esselstyn on Sunday, both of which will focus more on the science of healthy eating. So be sure to join us then to learn more about how you can put excellent nutrition into action in your life. And for those of you who find that you're learning things that you want to apply, for those of you who feel that maybe you've landed in a community of like-minded people, for those who are wanting to truly put healthy eating into action in a sustainable way, I want to be sure you know that you can stay on after we complete this hour in just a few moments to learn more about Plant Powered and Thriving. It's our online course. It starts on Tuesday. And if you do sign up before midnight tonight, from the link on the broadcast page, there are some pretty extraordinary bonuses that we'll be telling you about.
You know, Ocean, I know so many people who have gotten inspired about cleaning up their diet and changing their life and changing their food and eating healthfully. They know it matters. They have all the best of intentions. But then as they move along the path, as their life happens, they get busy, they get confused, they lose momentum, and they wind up falling backwards. But as we know, our lives are on the line here. This is really important stuff. And the status quo, the norm in our culture really is a fast track to immense suffering. And that's why I want our listeners and our audience to know that this is why we created Plant Powered and Thriving, because we're frankly sick and tired of seeing the best of intentions fall by the wayside. And we want to help you to succeed and to thrive long-term in a sustained way, in a way that works for your life ongoingly.
What matters the most is that you put what you're learning into action, that you don't accept the status quo, and that you take steps and then more steps to keep on moving in the direction that will best serve your health and your life and all that you love. And that's true whether or not you choose to stay on with us now to hear about Plant Powered and Thriving, and whether or not you sign up for any course ever. The fact is, we are grateful for your partnership in the food revolution, and we're excited to be working with you for healthy, sustainable, humane, delicious food for everyone. And let me ask you, Susan, you're choosing to join us here and inviting people to join in the Plant Powered and Thriving invitation that's available to us right now. Could you tell us why you've chosen to do that and why people might want to stay on to hear more about it?
Yeah, I was just sitting here trying to figure out if I had time to take the course myself. After hearing that description of lectins, I was like, I didn't know that. I need to know this stuff. You guys are so, well, I just adore you guys. And we our work is different. We cover really different stuff. I think we ultimately both help people get healthier, but you guys know so much more than I do about all the nutritional principles. I'm a brain scientist. I'm not a nutritionist at all. Not that you're a nutritionist, but you probably know more about food, frankly, than most nutritionists. So I would recommend people stay on, A, because you're just so solid and trustworthy, and B, because you've put yourselves at the hub of the latest and greatest research. The research that you do to host and deliver the Food Revolution Summit each year means that you get the most cutting edge food guidance, research, philosophy, the zeitgeist of where the food revolution is heading from the luminaries that are leading this field. So I don't know anybody literally on all of planet Earth that knows as much about sort of the science, practice, and lifestyle of healthy eating as the two of you. Like, there's just nobody. So yeah, I'm literally, actually, you just caught me sort of flipping through my calendar trying to figure out if I could take the course. That would be insane because I'm trying to see if I can.
Awesome. Yeah, we'd love to have you with us. That's for sure. And everybody who's with us right now in this Power Hour, we'd love to have you with us too. And so we're just going to carry on here and tell you more about how it works and what it is. And we want you to be informed so you can make a wise choice here and to take advantage of the opportunity that's available when you sign up before midnight tonight. And make sure to join us as well. If you don't want to hear about the course, make sure you do join us for our next Power Hour. In any case, with Dr. Dean Ornish, it'll be at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 Pacific on Thursday, and the one after that on Sunday with Dr. Esselstyn. And we want to thank you so much for joining us right now. And now we're going to transition and tell you more about this incredible opportunity.
Yeah, and we will. And thanks for staying on with us. Every step you take in life matters. But some of the steps you take that change your direction and that set you on a new trajectory, those steps have a vastly expanded impact. Those are the ones that really are transformative. And what I'd like to suggest to you right now is that this could be a choice point. This could be a moment that is transformative for you. If you've learned anything in this power that's lit a spark or that you felt inspired by, then I hope you'll carry it forward in your life and live it and embody it and make it real and share it. And we've created Plant Powered and Thriving, the course, to help you do just that. That's really the focus of it. Now, when we start talking about the course, some people might be thinking, and you might be thinking, oh, they're just trying to sell their course. And I want to address that concern really directly and clearly. If my goal in life, if my values were such that my priorities were primarily about making money, I would never have left Baskin Robbins. I walked away from the opportunity to inherit, to run a company, an ice cream company that was at that time the largest one in the world. It is a multi-billion dollar company. And I left it, and I left all access to that wealth because I believe in healthy eating, and I believe in living a life that contributes to the well-being of other people. And I believe in that deeply. And our goal, quite simply, is to help you to live the healthiest life that's possible for you. Because the more magnetic you are, the more sparkly you are, the more vital and vibrant and self-empowered you are, then the more contagious you'll be with the goodness that you've found. So our goal is to support you in every way that we can so you can shine as a beacon of health, and so that the people who are in your life will like what they see and will want what you have.
So here's how it works. Plant Powered and Thriving is a 6-week course that my dad and I are offering in tandem with chef extraordinaire Karen Hartglass. It starts on Tuesday. You can take it from anywhere in the world. Every week, you'll get another 70-minute class with us, and the classes will mix recorded and live delivery. Each class will feature engaging slides to help you to digest it all, and we're going to walk you through implementing healthy eating mastery. We're going to give you expertly created recipes, meal plans, time-saving tips, and let you know how you can save money and how you can bring friends and family along on the journey. One of my favorite classes is class 2, which includes a special focus on protein, calcium, iron, zinc, vitamin D, vitamin B12, and omega-3 fatty acids. If you want to be sure that you have all the building blocks you need to thrive on a plant-powered diet, then this class is definitely one that you're not going to want to miss.
Yes, we've delivered, and we've been refining this course now, and we've shared it with thousands of participants. And we've seen it bring incredible results to people's lives. We conducted a survey 2 months after the completion of a recent Plant Powered and Thriving course. And here's what we found. We found that the vast majority of course participants reported better overall health, better sleep, higher energy, better digestive health in particular, stronger peer and family support, better connections with people around their food path, and more clarity about which foods they wanted to eat and which are most healthful for them. Not all of the course participants that we surveyed wanted to lose weight. Some of them did not, but some did. And of those who did want to lose weight, almost all of them lost significant amounts. In many cases, the amount of loss was the amount that they wanted to lose. So I don't know if Susan will be with us in this course or not, but there will be some wonderful people who will be sharing this experience and supporting you if you're part of it. And we look forward to it.
So if you want to check it out right now while we're talking about it, you can just click on the button for it that's under this broadcast on our broadcast page. Or if you're on the phone right now, you can just go to foodrevolution.org/join. Again, that's foodrevolution.org/join. And in fact, if you already know this is for you, please feel free to just click on over and join in now. And we will be so happy to welcome you immediately. You will have another opportunity to sign up for the course if you choose to attend another Power Hour, but I want to invite you to take the leap and sign up today, because we put together a bonus package that you'll never see again. If you sign up tonight before midnight and directly from this Power Hour, you can access the course for a huge savings, and you're also going to receive hundreds of dollars worth of one-time only bonuses. Susan, there are a lot of online courses out there in the world. And as you know very well, most of the time people sign up for a course and then that's the end of it. They might or might not ever come to a single class. And if they do, what they learn might not actually translate into any real difference in their lives. It's like the books that sit on the bookshelf and never get opened or read, and they just collect a bunch of dust. And you know, and I know that however well marketed these kinds of courses might be, they aren't going to deliver much real value to anybody. So what is it that you think makes this different? What is it that you see in Plant Powered and Thriving that inspired you to join us right now and encourage folks to join in?
Oh, well, I think there's a lot to get people started right away. I know that you're going to get people launched really quick. And I think that's some of getting people involved in something that they're actually going to use to benefit them is, sort of how it begins. And I know that you're going to, it's kind of one of the benefits of online courses, honestly, is that, immediately they're going to get something in their inbox that they're going to love and consume. And then that's going to lead to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. I'm just sitting here thinking about the recipes. I'm really curious about those 10 recipes that people get every week. And there's just going to be a lot of value. I mean, if someone doesn't want to be on a healthy eating journey, isn't interested in receiving a bunch of recipes, isn't interested in the latest science of exactly just like this lectin thing about, because there's so much BS information out there, right?
Yeah.
And I've been hearing about this lectin thing a lot, and I've been reading about it and going, oh no, wait, oh wait, really? I eat these foods a lot. Oh no. So, I think it's just so relevant. We're eating every day, and once you've got the healthy eating bug, it's just going to pull you right through the course. Each exciting thing that you learn is going to make you want to show up for the next thing.
That's right. Let's get a little more specific here and go over exactly what you'll receive. Every week, you'll get a new online class, and each class will be about 70 minutes. You can join in live, or you can catch the replay and enjoy the transcripts anytime for the rest of your life. And we'll stay on after the first and last class for a question and answer session. You'll get access to our private and moderated online community forum where you can connect with peers, you can share struggles and successes, and you can ask for expert advice. You'll get our top time-saving tips and product recommendations for stocking a healthy kitchen. You'll get some potent special reports like the truth about soy, the truth about juicers and blenders, top ways to sneak vegetables into any diet, how to eat better and spend less, how to raise healthy plant-powered kids, and a lot more. Plus, you're going to get mind-blowing presentations from guest faculty who have been among our most popular speakers in Food Revolution summits, including folks like Dr. Ornish and Dr. Esselstyn, as well as dietitian Brenda Davis, Michael Bernard Beckwith, Kathy Freston, and Dr. Joel Furman. Plus, you'll enjoy delicious, nutritious, plant-strong recipes that even kids love. And the moment that you register, starting tonight, you will gain instant access to a huge collection of bonuses. You'll get the moderated member community forum, amazing recipes, special reports, and a lot more. We start the actual classes on Tuesday and continue every Tuesday evening for 6 weeks. You'll be able to join online or through teleconference from a phone. Each class will be at 8:30 Eastern Time, 5:30 Pacific. And if you can't make it to any or all of the Tuesday nights, you won't miss anything because you'll have the replays and the transcripts available for life. So you can listen anytime you like, online, or by downloading the classes to an MP3 player or a smartphone for the rest of your life.
The focus of week number 1 of our first class is on saving you time and setting you up for success. And we front load a lot of the time-saving tips right at the start of the course because our goal is to take stress off of you right from day 1.
In week 2, we're going to focus on getting the nutrients that you need deliciously. We want you to have every building block so that you can thrive more and more with every passing day.
And then in week 3, we'll focus on how to eat and love your greens. We all know we should be eating greens, but how do you do it? What's the healthiest way to do it? What's the most nutritious way to do it? And what's the most delicious way to do it?
And then, oh, sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. Well, I was going to say that we'll also help our participants and their families to understand the profound benefits that eating greens provides and to learn how to enjoy them more than ever.
Yes, we will. And then in week 4, speaking of family, we're going to look at friends and family and how you can bring them along. We're going to give you tips for sharing ideas and meals with the people in your life who might not eat the same way that you do, and support in navigating social dynamics in family gatherings, like the holidays, for example, at work, in restaurants, and around the dinner table.
And then in week 5, we'll look at a topic that's on a lot of people's minds these days: carbs, gluten, grains, and also sweeteners. And you'll find out what the science actually says. And very importantly, how to determine what's really best for you, for your particular and unique body.
In our final week, week 6, we're going to help you to plan for meals on the move. We'll give you top tips for travel, for busy schedules, restaurant meals, and also how you can freestyle in your kitchen for fast and delicious results. And we're going to celebrate you and all that you've accomplished. So again, if you want to check it all out in more detail or join in now, you can click on the button for Plant Powered and Thriving right from the broadcast page to take advantage of the special offer that's available before midnight tonight. Now, this course also comes with more than $1,000 worth of free bonuses. And one of those is Susan's brilliant 14-day challenge that's helped people lose thousands of pounds in the last year. It also comes with Dr. Dean Ornish's Lifestyle Medicine Guidebook and a special recipe collection from Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn. And you'll also get bonuses from Dr. Rita Marie Lascauso and many, many more. Susan, since one of these bonuses is your 14-day challenge, could you tell us about how it works, who it's for, and why folks should be excited about it?
Well, it's for anyone who's curious about Bright Line Eating. This is a program that I created because a lot of people are like, I don't know what you do. It sounds kind of hardcore, and it is. It's for people who want to see what it's like to live for 2 weeks, like someone who, does Bright Line Eating lives. I mean, we are by far the most successful weight loss maintainers in the world. Our program works orders of magnitude better than any other weight loss program. But it's a big ask, it's like we ask a lot of people. And so I sort of feel like you could do anything for 2 weeks. It's sort of like checking yourself into, whatever, like, okay, I'm here for duty, like, all right, we're going to put you through the paces for 2 weeks. See how it feels. See how you feel at the end of 2 weeks. And it's a do-it-yourself program. So there isn't like the online community and all that stuff. It's just you and the instructions. And, every morning in your inbox, there's a video of me giving you your marching orders, and it gives you the food plan. It just walks you through. There's nothing that contradicts what I'm going to tell people and what you're going to tell people. Like, our program is just maybe a subset of what you do. Like, you guys allow this, and we say, okay, of that, I only want you to do that. You know what I mean? So it's just a little bit more prescribed than what, I'm not going to tell anybody to eat anything that you wouldn't totally approve of. That's actually not true. There's stuff allowed in Bright Line Eating that's, yeah.
Well, you're not telling people to eat it, you're allowing it.
Right.
But it's
there's
possible to be whole foods plant-based in the Bright Line Eating program. And these really are deeply complementary programs here. And that's why we paired it, and why
if you're here and you're curious and you're thinking, I want to do Plant Powered and Thriving, but I might want to do Bright Line Eating too, this is the way to do it. Just sign up for Plant Powered and Thriving, and then, try the 14-day challenge at some point. I wouldn't start it immediately. I would let the Plant Powered and Thriving sort of, take off a little bit. And then when you're ready, start your 14 days and see how it goes for you.
Wonderful. Thanks, Susan. And that's actually just one of the bonuses that you get for free when you sign up tonight. And there's more. For those of you who feel like this could be a support for you, we wanted to put something together that's really generous and that would help to motivate you to make a decision and take action tonight. So right now, directly from this Power Hour only, you get several special opportunities. First of all, a 20% discount if you sign up now. Secondly, a totally free set of the Gold Empowerment Package from the Food Revolution Summit Volume 3. We have a very limited quantity of these absolutely beautiful binders that give you CDs from all 25 presentations in our third Food Revolution Summit, plus printed transcripts of the entire summit. This is a package that's only available on our website right now for $297, and there's a limited supply even then. But the first 150 people who register tonight get it for just the cost of shipping. Once these 150 are gone, this binder will be removed from the page. So if you can still see it offered, that means there are still some available. But the offer is only for the very fastest action takers. And once it's gone, you'll never be able to see it again. And your other fast action bonus here that's only available from the Power Hour is the Ultimate Health Collection. It brings you 20 of the most popular interviews that we've ever conducted on the topics of food and health. The only other way you would get this directly is if you were to buy this curated collection through getting every single empowerment package from all of our past summits. That's the only way you could ever otherwise access all of these incredible presentations. It would cost you over $1,000. But you can get the entire Ultimate Health Collection for free when you sign up for Plant Powered and Thriving now. And you can get this entire course for 3 monthly payments of $89. Or if you pay all at once, then you get an even further savings that brings your price down to just one payment of $247. That's a 20% discount off the regular price. And this whole package that we're talking about right now expires tonight at midnight. And keep in mind, we offer a 60-day total satisfaction, 100% better than money back guarantee. So again, if you want to join in, just go ahead and click on the button and you can get all of the bonuses, including the ones that could disappear any minute, and you can sign up right now.
You know, I've been thinking about what's at stake here for folks. And what this could be for people. It can be a life transforming, uh, a life marking experience, a life defining experience. If you need to lose weight, you'll lose it, and you'll keep it off, because this isn't a diet that is just taken on for a time. This is a life path. This is a way of living and eating that is integrous. And it supports your spiritual integrity. It supports your physical integrity. It supports your emotional integrity. It supports your health. And you know, what is health worth? We sometimes take it for granted. And it's only the person who loses it that knows then what it's really worth. But I think we can remember what it's worth and understand what it's worth without losing it. And I think that is the opportunity that this provides, is to move into a life in which your choices start to become automatic, start to become effortless, become irresistible, and your joy expands, and your aliveness expands, your vitality expands, and the people around you notice, and they like what they see, and they want what you have, and you're filled with the joy of knowing that your life is consistent with your highest purpose and your greatest well-being and your ability to serve and love other people. And I think that is really worth doing.
Yes, here to that. We're moving towards the end of our time together. So Susan, let me ask you, are there any final words you would like to share with our participants?
Oh, just how much I'm glad that we got to spend this time together. And how much I hope you're considering the Plant Powered and Thriving course, because it sounds amazing. And I know these guys, it's going to be amazing. So yeah, it's just such a treat to be here.
Thanks, Susan. And thanks to everyone who's on with us right now for staying with us to find out more about Plant Powered and Thriving. You know, if you think that this might be a fit for you, we'd so love to have you with us. The response to our past courses has been nothing short of extraordinary. And I think this is going to be the best one yet. My dad and I are so looking forward to being with you again, hopefully in the course, and also along with Dr. Dean Ornish on Thursday as we continue the Plant Powered and Thriving Expert Series with a focus on how lifestyle medicine can transform your life. And for those of you who do sign up for Plant Powered and Thriving tonight, the course begins the moment that you register, and we can't wait to share it all with you. And now I want to close out with a quote from George Bernard Shaw, who said, "This is the true joy in life, to be used for a purpose recognized by yourself as a mighty one, to be a force of nature instead of a feverish clod of ailments and grievances, complaining that the world will not devote itself to making you happy." He said, "I am a member of the community, and as a member, it is my privilege to do for it whatever I can before I die. Life is no brief candle to me. It is more of a splendid torch, which I want to make burn as brightly as possible before handing it on to future generations." So I want to thank you for burning your candle, for your torch, for your light as brightly as you can. And I want to thank you so much for your partnership in the food revolution. It's been a privilege and a joy to share this time with you and with my dad and with Susan Pierce Thompson and with everybody who is joining with us right here and right now and saying yes to healthy food for healthy people and a healthy planet. We look forward to sharing in Plant Powered and Thriving with you, and we look forward to all the ways that we get to work together for the healthy world and the healthy food that all of us deserve. We wish you a beautiful night, and we wish you lots of fabulous healthy food.